Hi, so I am here today with Theo Kayiranga, who is our program manager, our senior manager in Gasabo district. So he's based in our Kigali office in the capital of Rwanda, and he's part of our Rwandan leadership team. Theo, it is so good to be with you today. Thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you, Louise.
How
I'm
are you?
happy. I'm good, thank you.
So I imagine in the past 11 years, you will not have seen anything like we've seen in this past year with COVID, with
Yeah.
lockdowns, schools closing, and so on. So I just want to start by asking how you and our team in Rwanda are doing in the midst of everything.
Oh, thank you, Louise. I think we are doing really very well. None of our two members have been affected by the COVID-19. We continue to work. We did not stop working despite the fact that some of the businesses or jobs were closed down. But as Wellspring, we did not stop. We continue to see how we can support our teachers, school leaders, and even the parent community. So we did not stop. Our team was still on the move to support. I think during these past months, we, as Wellspring program team, we sat together and produced workbooks for the three categories of people we always work with. Those are teachers, school leaders, and parents. And the workbooks were meant to, first of all, help them be aware of the pandemic and how it spreads and how to just protect themselves from having it or contaminating people and how it works. And mainly, we were looking at how, for example, if I talk about teachers, we're trying to help them understand what is their role during this time of the pandemic. What should be their teachers' role? How do they act out their role? And we found out that teachers, for example, felt they didn't have a role to play. They thought it was a teacher's role. But by that workbook, they could find out that they could even advise parents how to treat children at home, what to do if there are children in the neighborhood, what can be their role, what's the messages they could pass on to children. So something like that. And for school leaders, we would want them to also see how they support their teachers. How do they keep a positive eye, a caring eye on their teachers? And how do they continue to engage them as they try to find out how they are doing in their families? Besides that, for parents, it was simply giving them some tips about how they can help their children at home, hand washing, rest, how they keep their children to rest, how do they help them follow lessons at TV or radios, something like that, so that everybody could keep engaged during the school matters. We are seeing a very good result because some of the teachers have been using these workbooks to even support other teachers, help them understand what their role should be during this time. I was receiving photos from different school-based mentors, what they are doing with teachers in their communities. So with school improvement plan, first of all, that's not our initiative as Wellspring. It was a request, a formal request from REB, One Educational Board, to all the partners to help them train teachers in school improvement plan. So as Wellspring, we're among the few partners who offered to train school leaders in our two districts, Gasabo and Rubavu, to train school leaders in the school improvement plan. So this morning I was talking to the training team in Gasabo, and they were sharing with me very motivating stories about how the training went. It went really very, very well. When we interact, the feedback from the team this morning was saying it was hard for them to use the school data because they were asked, for example, if you give tests to students, are you really very confident of what comes out of those tests or exams that you give to your students or children? Said no, because we know we still haven't got effective ways of assessing or effective ways of analyzing what we have. And the data, they were saying the data we have isn't reliable enough for us to say they give us the real picture. That was one of the things that was highlighted or was seen as we conducted this training, and even helping them see the priority, because at times our school leaders don't always look at the priority as being in the classroom. They look at the priorities as being buildings that are being built. And for them to see a priority as a P1 child who is not being successful in math or in Kinyarwanda literacy, many of them don't see quality of teaching through those lenses. So that's what we found out during the last 2 weeks with them in school improvement planning. So I think for us as Wellspring, it will be a good thing to continue to work alongside them as we help them to come up with a good school improvement plan. Because what we know, they loved it. They said it is something we needed. We're confused about it. So I think we're going to do it very well. That's what many of them were saying.
That's wonderful. And there's such an opportunity in this time while schools are closed, really to build into the skills and capacity of teachers and leaders like that. So it's a really important work you've been doing. So thank you for that.
I think there are many ways you could pray for us. We know students are still in families. We know schools haven't reopened, and we found out that parents still struggle with keeping their children at home because they need to go out, find jobs, and so they can feed them. So we know that some of the children are exposed to some potential violence without care and left alone at home. So you understand, in our context as Rwanda, that is something that we need to pray for. But also we need to pray for our team of trainers. They have really been doing a great job in supporting during this time by producing these materials, by also going to support on the field. So they used a lot of energy than ever, and it came as a surprise, but the responsiveness was really very high. So we would like to pray for them to stay healthy and committed. So that's what I can say. But also praying for some of the families lost their job. We know sometimes there are businesses that are closed because some cases were identified, and those people who were working there, they stopped working, and then the children in those families are affected. We can see that being a major thing that affects our children, especially in rural areas where the only thing they can do is maybe a parent going in a nearby center, doing some shopping and selling something to get money to feed the children. So otherwise we are healthy, we are moving on. The other thing you could pray for, we want to continue to be engaged. As a program team, we are thinking about what do we do if schools don't reopen? in September or maybe in October. So we need wisdom. We need God's guidance in how we can continue to support our leaders and our schools generally and parent communities. So if you could pray for us for those specific things, we would love that. We would love really that.